In 1975, at Photoshoot Studio in downtown Los Angeles, a film photographer known as Jack Bernard was taking a picture of a lady when he starts to get frisky with the woman, which makes her very uncomfortable. The lady excuses herself to get changed for another photoshoot, and when she returns, the photographer hacks her with an axe and uses her head to decorate his mannequin. Now in the present day, Sophia have just bought the studio apartment building for their clothing business since she's a fashion designer and is so excited to have gotten such a big space for her creative work. To celebrate the moment and also for a birthday gift, Sophia offers her sister, Leanna, a ticket to join her at an Italy fashion show coming up the next week. Leanna gets home in the evening to find the house unkept and her boyfriend posting on his socials about some ghost stories and reminds him to get ready for her best friend's engagement party. At the party, everyone appears to be vibing except Leanna, who doesn't really engage in any conversation with anyone because she doesn't like the way her relationship is going, and when they get home that evening, Leanna breaks up with her boyfriend. The next morning, all the friends come along to help Sophia arrange her new place. When they look around, they find a mannequin, so Sophia names it Alice Baldwin because of the way its head is shaped. Not long after, when everyone has left the scene, the mannequin's eye suddenly turns gray with blood coming out of its nose. That night, Leanna gets a call from her boss, who's angry at her because she hasn't showed up for work for the past few days and fires her at the spot, promising her that he would make sure she doesn't get hired by any other company in LA for her misbehavior. At the studio, Sophia is storing the trashes away when she hears footsteps approaching her from the stairs. She doesn't pay much attention to it and continues with what she's doing, only for the ghost of one of the murdered lady to appear and causing her eyes to turn gray. The next morning, Leanna wakes up from a message from one of the friends asking her to check up on Sophia since they've been trying to reach out to her but to no avail. Leanna gets to the studio, and when she enters the building, she finds her sister's phone with blood on the floor. She gets closer and is horrified to find the lifeless body of Sophia. The police rules out Sophia's death as a suicide and her case is closed without any further investigation. 1 year later, Leanna returns from Italy to reopen the studio space back, intending to continue what her sister started. She finds the mannequin there and asks the realtor if he was the one that brought it there, and he says he thought it was from his sister Sophia and asks if she wants him to throw it out, but Hexes says no. Leanna starts to decorate the space with her sewing equipments, and when it reaches sunset, the mannequin's eyes suddenly starts to move. After the hard work of getting all the decorations in place, Leanna grabs a bottle of wine to drink while listening to a voice note from her ex, who learned that she's back in town and wants to meet up. After she's done, Leanna lays down on a couch to get some rest, and after some moments, a noise from a sewing machine wakes her up. She goes over to check and is horrified to see that it's her sister operating it, but when she gets closer, she disappears. The next day, Leanna invites her friends to celebrate the reopening of the place, and for a moment everyone is calm and chill with her and her story about the experience she had in Italy, until one of the friends, Hazel, gets really angry at Leanna for acting like nothing happened here, and for the past year she had been ignoring them even when they tried to reach out to know how she was doing. Leanna apologizes, saying she went away to grieve in her own way and didn't mean to just disappear like that, and promises that this time things would be different. Nadine decides to go home while Hazel stays behind to keep Leanna company, even though she didn't ask for it. While in the studio, Hazel is going through some of the designs they have and are amazed that Leanna is so talented, but Leanna reveals that those designs were created by her sister. She even stole some of the pattern which she used to get into the Fashion Institute. To spice up the moment, Leanna decides to style the mannequin with one of her special designs when they hear footsteps coming from the other room, but when they check they don't find anything. Leanna recalls that she heard the same footsteps last night. The mannequin's head suddenly falls off, startling Hazel and Leanna. Leanna puts it back and it falls back almost immediately. Thinking it's nothing, they decided to rest for the night. Hazel is fast asleep when some blood starts to drip down on her forehead. When she looks up, she's horrified to find a lady which immediately disappears. Scared, she walks out of the room when she starts hearing some whistling, and when she turns around to see where it's coming from, a dead figure of Jack suddenly appears in front of her, causing her eyes to distort, and she passes out. Later, Sophia wakes up to find Hazel shaking and goes to find out what she was doing, and to her horror, Hazel is harming herself with a sharp tool, only stopping when Sophia starts to scream. The next day, after Hazel has been treated of her self-induced injury, the friends gather to discuss what really happened. Hazel tells the others that she didn't really know what happened to her, as the incident seemed to her like she was only dreaming. She apologizes to Leanna for having to witness such horror. Nadine thinks that somehow Hazel is suicidal, which must have led her to do what she did, but Hazel clarifies that that wasn't the case, rather she's terrified of ending up like their friend. Leanna backs her by saying she knows that Sophia was never suicidal and she isn't crazy either. Nadine points out that going back to that studio space was a bad idea, but Leanna isn't listening to her. Angry, she grabs the wine she's been drinking on all night and wastes it on the sink. Leanna asks what she's doing and Nadine tells her that as a friend she's observed that she has a drinking problem, reminding her that they're also grieving but drinking all day wouldn't help the situation get better. At that moment Leanna gets a call from the building manager who tells her that after they've checked the footage from their cameras, they found nothing but they'll keep checking if they see something different. After the call ends, Nadine offers Leanna her place to stay for some time since her husband is out of the town for work and goes to sleep. Hazel joins Leanna in the living room where she tells her about her experience the day before they came to the building. She reveals that she saw her sister working on the sewing machine and thinks something is wrong with that building. After everyone goes ahead to sleep, a hand appears on Nadine and starts to touch her. Moments later she starts walking around the house. Nadine makes her way to the bathroom where she grabs a knife to start harming herself. She's found by Hazel who tries to stop her, but she turns and starts chasing her with the knife. Hazel runs out of the house and blocks herself with a glass door. When Nadine doesn't see a way to reach her, she drops the knife and walks to the kitchen where she puts her hand in the sink grinder and screams in pain as her hand gets severed. She's then taken to the hospital where the doctors were able to stitch her up except the ring finger, so they had to replace it with the index so she can still wear her wedding ring. Looking for solutions to their current nightmare, Leanna recalls that she knows someone that can help them. Next, we see her boyfriend at Nadine's house. Leanna and her ex-boyfriend, Elliot, reminisce about their past before revealing the terrifying things that has happened to them before sharing his findings with them. Elliot explains to the group that the building was first built in 1923. It was first used as a mannequin factory not until 1950. The Bernard family turned the factory into a photography studio. In 1955, a catalog model, Ruth Calvert, went missing and the body was found in a dumpster decapitated. In 1964, another victim was Mindy Jenkins, who also went missing. Her body was found and her arms severed. And lastly, in 1972, another model was found dead and her legs severed. At the end, Jack became a suspect but was never charged for the murders. The police couldn't find the missing parts of the bodies, but rumors has it that Jack would keep the body parts to remember the crime or his victim's beauty. Not until 1999, when his crime finally catches up with him, his DNA was linked to the 3 murders. His family found him in the building with a bullet hole in his head as he'd kill himself. In conclusion, Elliot tells the ladies that he thinks that what happened to them and Sophia is somehow correlated with Jack and they've all been marked. Nadine doesn't believe what Elliot just said to them, but the others reminds her that she just lost a finger and should try and listen for help. Elliot proposes that for trial, he doesn't know what they're dealing with yet, so they have to go back to the building to investigate and find a way to break the link between them and the spirit of Jack. When they arrive at the building, Elliot brings out a special item for their protection and heads out to inspect the perimeter with a special device. Meanwhile, inside the car, Nadine could see through the car monitor that some entities are surrounding the car, but she can't see anyone. At that moment, Elliot arrives to tell them to get ready as he's found what he was looking for. Inside the building, Elliot sets up his cameras while Leanna is busy clearing out the space. Flashes could be seen down the stairs, so Elliot takes his special device to check up on it while repeating to the entity that it is not welcomed here. Suddenly, a loud screeching noise is heard, forcing Elliot to take off the device. He sees himself surrounded by the ghost of the dead ladies and runs to the other room to grab some holy water and starts to sprinkle it on the surrounding to prevent them from harming anyone. Elliot takes out his bag and brings out a white substance that he pours on the floor, making a circle. He takes the girls to the circle and tells them to remain there and don't cross the line until he says so, as he intends to provoke and trigger the spirit with prayer. Next, he cuts himself with a knife and paints the blood on the mannequin's face. Elliot then begins to perform exorcism followed by prayers. The camera starts flashing, after which he grabs the mannequins and starts to smash it into pieces, revealing some human remains which potentially belongs to Jack's murdered victims. Nadine starts to panic and crosses the line. This causes Leanna to be possessed by Jack's demonic spirit and she grabs a knife which she uses to try and stab Elliot with, but he quickly deflects it. While the others run to hide, Elliot manages to take out the knife, but Leanna finds an axe and hacks Elliot with it until he looses one of his arm. Leanna gets ready to finish off Elliot when she's stung by Nadine with a pin that belongs to Sophia, causing her to return back to her senses, as she screams at the sight of what she has done. Later, the spirits of the murdered ladies suddenly starts to appear towards the mannequin as if grieving over their lost body part. Meanwhile, somewhere across a hidden part of the studio, it appears that the building manager has been observing everything along, revealing that he's Jack's grandson and he intends to continue what his grandfather started. While the group are finally free from the haunting spirits of the dead ladies, they go to Sophia's grave to say their final farewell, while the building manager rents out the building to an oblivious lady.